Rest is not a reward, it's a requirement. You guys have shared with me that you struggle with this. I have struggled with this in the past, and I'm very excited to give you some good tools today. Why is taking breaks the most productive thing you can do? Many actors, many creatives, and many high achievers fall into this trap where they believe that rest must be earned and that it's lazy to take breaks or unproductive or a sign of weakness or we're weak if we take a break. But the truth is, rest is not a luxury or a reward for hard work. It's a necessity for long-term success. So let's break down why rest is essential, not optional, and why it's so hard to embrace and how to integrate it into our life without guilt and getting stuck back in that guilt and shame spiral. The productivity trap and why we feel guilty for resting. Here's Emily's productivity trap. So, Emily is a struggling actor. She lives in Los Angeles. She knows this productivity trap all too well. And this is how Emily's day is structured. She wakes up early in the morning to go to her survival job. Then she races home to squeeze in some self tapes. She scrolls through some casting sites late at night. She beats herself up when she isn't constantly grinding. And then when she finally sits down to watch a movie or to go for a walk, that voice in her head whispers, you should be doing more. Or if you were really serious, you wouldn't take another break. Or other actors are out there hustling. What if you're falling behind? Does that sound familiar? Emily, like many actors, has tied her worthiness to her productivity. She only feels like she's deserved to rest if she works herself into exhaustion first. But this mindset is exactly what leads to burnout, feeling drained or uninspired or unmotivated, to creative blocks where you're struggling to access emotions and imagination. It also leads to physical exhaustion where we're poor sleeping and we're stressed and we have weakened immunity, and self-sabotage where we're procrastinating, avoiding the work, or feeling resentful. But what if instead of earning rest, we saw it as a tool for success? So here's the science of rest. Why breaks actually make you more successful. So rest isn't just nice to have, it's a biological necessity. And here's what happens when you allow yourself to rest. Your brain strengthens memory and learning. So research shows that after a period of focused work, your brain needs some downtime to like process and store and strengthen new information. And so if Emily is constantly working without breaks, she's actually absorbing less in her acting classes and in her audition prep because her brain hasn't had time to catch up. It also improves creativity and problem solving. When you rest, your subconscious mind keeps working behind the scenes. Have you ever had a breakthrough idea when you're showering or when you're taking a walk? That's because your brain was making connections because you gave it the space to do so. Stress and anxiety actually decrease. Breaks lower cortisol, which is the stress hormone, preventing emotional burnout. Emily often feels stuck in self-doubt, but when she takes the time to breathe or stretch or step away from work, she notices she's able to approach auditions with more ease. And then lastly, your performance gets better. Studies show that elite athletes and musicians and performers who prioritize rest perform better and last longer in their careers. Wow. And rested actors deliver richer, more emotionally connected performances than those who are running on empty. So, how do we integrate rest without guilt? How do we take that step from here to there? So, let's go back to Emily. Emily wants to embrace rest, but she worries, won't I fall behind? Or how do I know if I'm resting too much? Here's how she and you can redefine rest so it feels empowering and not like you're just slacking off. Schedule rest like you would schedule an audition or a self tape. If it's not on the calendar, it won't happen, especially for me. Block out intentional rest times. Even if it's just 10 to 20 minutes, you need a break every 90 minutes to prevent burnout. Emily helps herself prioritize breaks by setting an alarm to take breaks in between self tapes instead of just powering through. She notices after a short walk, her performances actually feel more alive and authentic. You can also give rest a purpose. Instead of thinking of rest as doing nothing, think of it as you're recharging your creative battery. Choose an activity that genuinely refreshes you, like listening to music or deep feelers. So, music can really influence our mood and our life. Reading a novel, going outside, napping, or doing yoga or meditating, stretching. Instead of mindlessly scrolling after work, Emily, maybe she wants to play the piano for 15 minutes. It soothes her stress and it also keeps her creative brain engaged. You can also reframe rest as a power move. High performers prioritize rest because they know it sharpens their edge. Rest is not actually about avoiding work, it's about doing your best for longer. So Emily can now tell herself, I rest because I'm serious about my career. A well rested actor outshines the exhausted one. So let's talk about taking action this week and redefining rest for yourself. What is one way that you can give yourself permission to rest this week? What's one limiting belief that you have about rest? What's a new belief that you can replace that old limiting belief with? So here's some final thoughts for you. Rest is a form of self-respect. You don't have to run yourself into the ground to prove you're hardworking. And true success is not about grinding 24/7. It's about sustainability, it's about resilience, and it's about showing up as your best self. Rest isn't a reward for working hard. It's what fuels you to keep going. There is a worksheet below. Check it out, discover your rest style, and pick something so that you can build your rest menu. Because rest is not something you earn, it's something you need.